Let's go to Justin Dunk now from 3downnation.com as we continue the football discussion on this Monday morning. How you doing, JD?
Doing well, guys. What about you?
I was thinking, great. I mean, I'm really loving the fact that SaskTel has waived all overage charges on data here during the pandemic. And I'm sure you're hoping that Bell did the same for you out there on this weekend. Man, your phone must have been going crazy with the NFL draft. Take me through the weekend if you don't mind.
It was wild, especially when you get into that seventh round, and I've had a lot of experience with it now. You know that these Canadians are going to have that undrafted free agent, at least opportunities. So there was a number of guys that we had slated in that we felt had the best chances, and then you sort of go with some, let's say, preparations in the background. I won't give away the secrets, but you got to be super quick because the NFL news is a little different than the CFL, that it comes out very quickly. So you got to tweet it right away and be on top of it. And we had 4 Canadians sign undrafted free agent contracts. The first was University of Montreal defensive back Marc-Antoine Dequoy going to the Green Bay Packers. Carter O'Donnell out of the University of Alberta, closer to you guys, went to the Indianapolis Colts. Rice and John, the Simon Fraser receiver, signed a deal with the New York Giants. And then finally we had Michael Hoyt out of Brown University. He's from a smaller town in Ontario, signed with the Los Angeles Rams. The one surprising note, quarterback Nathan Rourke has yet to sign an undrafted NFL free agent contract, patiently waiting. But my thought is his focus might have gone more towards the CFL draft now.
Wow. I want to pick up on that for a second, but did you paint your house and put up a chandelier in the pandemic?
No, I can't take credit for this. This is my girlfriend's place.
I was going to say, looks different than what I'm used to. Home renos from Justin Dunk. Well, I know you haven't had the time because you've been following all this. So to Nathan Rourke, who we've had on the show, and I read your article, he had a better NCAA career than Tony Romo. What are realistic expectations for Nathan Rourke, the Ohio quarterback from Southern Ontario?
And a better NCAA career production-wise in Taysom Hill, who just signed a new $21 million deal with the New Orleans Saints. So it's a bit of a surprise to me, considering what I had heard going into the draft, that he had a number of calls and Zoom calls with NFL teams. And I had this feeling, guys, and I hate to say it now, but that the New England Patriots were going to go this route just because Rourke is such a student. He's literally taking notes during his team interviews with NFL or CFL teams. So I really thought he was going to get an opportunity, but the uniqueness of the CFL draft is actually going to have him rise up the board. I've had scouts tell me that Rourke right now could be a backup on 6 of the 9 CFL teams.
Wow, that's high praise, JD. That's pretty good. So where do you think he falls in the CFL draft, and how does the NFL draft now affect what CFL teams are thinking? Because I know on the CFL's official list, Gallimore, Claypool, they were all on the top of the list of available prospects for the CFL draft, but the chance of them getting drafted probably not that high. So how have things been affected?
I'll start with the top guys and work down. So Chase Claypool goes in the second round to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Neville Gallimore, third round to the Dallas Cowboys. We saw, I believe it was a couple of years ago, Nathan Shepard was selected in the third round by the New York Jets. He was a defensive lineman, and he didn't even get drafted in the CFL draft. So when you see players like that go that high in the NFL draft, I can see them potentially being later round picks in the CFL draft. But at that point, it's a throwaway even in this day and age because you're making so much money. So as for the guys that signed the undrafted free agent contracts, depending on the amount of guaranteed money, and O'Donnell got a substantial amount, $25,000, and all of the guys had some sort of guaranteed money, but it wouldn't be like top end sort of money that you're never coming back to the CFL for. So we'll see those guys sort of trickle down the board, but the reverse effect is going to happen for Rourke because he hasn't signed a contract yet in the NFL. He's actually going to rise up, and you factor in the rule in the CBA now that if your Canadian does start, they count towards the ratio that Rourke could be ultra valuable. Guys, imagine this. Michael O'Connor and Nathan Rourke on the same team could be a ratio-breaking scenario that might have some coaches salivating.
From our viewers, Colin in Ottawa says he'll have to prove himself in the CFL if he wants a shot in the NFL. Get in line, Nathan. You are not alone in trying to use our league as a chance to springboard into the NFL. What the hell's wrong with that? That's fine that if that's what he's looking at. Sure, I'm sure he'd be game to keep playing football and for the dream to still be out there. Although I should say this, have you talked to him in the last 24 hours? Is he down, Justin? Because he seemed to be, really key on an NFL opportunity.
He's a guy that doesn't let outside factors affect him. He's still very positive. He was literally asking me, how can I watch the CFL draft? I want to see how everything falls. That he is not going to let naysayers for his NFL opportunities get him down. He's razor focused on whatever that opportunity is, going and attacking it, guys. And I can tell you, he moved from Oakville to go down to play high school in Alabama. A lot of people didn't think that would result in him potentially getting an NCAA Division I scholarship. Well, he went to junior college at Fort Scott, earned it the hard way, has an ultra-productive career at Ohio. So he doesn't care the road that he has to take. And he loves the CFL. It's what he grew up around. He's from Oakville. He was right there between the Argos and the Ticats in that rivalry. So he's Canadian at heart. He's not looking at the CFL as a second option. It just happens to be a nice backup plan for him.
So am I reading this right in that the name Nathan Rourke is one that CFL fans are going to hear a lot in the next 72-ish hours leading up to Thursday's draft? He has provided now some real intrigue for Thursday night.
That's right. He has, and guys, I should say the other quarterback name out there, obviously I'm a little biased towards the position as a Canadian, but Adam Sinagra has garnered some buzz here recently as we get into draft day. There are some scouts that will actually tell you that right now Sinagra is the better passer of the two between him and Nathan Rourke. So what's really exciting here, for the first time in a while, we did have Michael O'Connor last year, but we actually have two high-end, legitimate quarterback prospects that have a chance to go higher than normal in the CFL draft, which, as you guys right now know, that there's not much content going on sports-wise out there, that this could potentially draw more eyeballs.
It's fantastic. Anything for JD?
Yeah, that's great. Really good.
Well, it's ironic, isn't it, that Brandon Bridge fought so long to make the Canadian quarterback count to the ratio, and then he retires, and it happens. That's irony at its finest.
And he makes the path better for the next guy. That's all he was looking to do, guys. And I should give you one note just before we go. I just broke the news that the Stampeders are entertaining trade offers for the number 1 overall pick, boys. So buckle up as we get going to the CFL draft.
Oh, wow. Well, there's a team flush with, I guess they don't need it, but do you have a pick who you think number 1 will be?
Well, it depends who's making that selection. If Calgary stays there, I've said probably for months now that the most sensible pick, and from what I've heard from boots on the ground, is that East Carolina University linebacker Jordan Williams, who you guys had on your show. That video he did up was flashy and hot, and he's that kind of a player. Let me tell you, you could probably step in and start right away. He's the favorite to go number 1 overall as it stands right now, but guys, what's happened with the coronavirus and the shortened season has maybe switched some teams' thinking in the fact that you're going to have a shortened training camp if indeed we do have a season, and that's obviously still to be determined. So maybe it's better to hire upper echelon elite player that can come in and play without a limited training camp, and that those later round picks probably aren't going to have the opportunity they normally would in a longer camp to impress and make your roster. So Huffningle could be thinking right now, hey, I do like Jordan Williams, but if there is a player that somebody else covets, let's say Toronto, BC, or Edmonton, or somebody else in the first round, I'll let them come up and get him, and maybe we can get Williams a little later on and potentially have some draft capital for the future, which could be more valuable, or use that capital to get back into the first round and make another high-end selection.
Absolutely fantastic report, Justin. You're awesome, giving us lots to think about leading up to Thursday. Thanks for the time, and we'll be reading as always.
You bet, boys. Stay safe out there, eh?
You too. Justin Dunk from 3downnation.com, the country's leading source for CFL info. We'll be back to chop all that up, as he likes to say. Get to more of your Prairie Mobile text questions and check the poll results. We got a lot going on. We'll be right back on the Rod Pedersen Show, Facebook Live, Game Plus TV Network, and listen live at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.